So it's being reported that Baltimore is falling apart as a city. And obviously, it's the usual suspects. You get the far left, and most likely, I'm guessing this is a Soros prosecutor in Baltimore. And they've gotten very, very soft on crime. So, what does that do? When you're soft on crime, you're attracting more criminals to that area because they're relatively safe from prosecution. So, the city is gradually becoming out of control. And the violence has spilled out of the inner city part where a lot of the violence is, and it's now leaking out into the suburbs. It's being reported that a lot of people are moving out of Baltimore, moving out of Maryland, and these are the type of people who pay taxes, the people that own businesses. They're going to places where their area, the people are more friendly to people like that. People are more friendly to, as far as not taxing them so much, not regulating them, where they're safe, that they don't have to worry about things being stolen from them or their persons being threatened. You have to understand that Baltimore is not the only city where this is taking place. You got places like Atlanta, St. Louis, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, etc. And there were productive, hardworking people that built these cities. These skyscrapers, it takes a lot of effort to build those things. People put a lot of effort in building their own businesses. The sewage systems, the water, the electricity, all of that takes effort to put in. And that takes decades to build that system. Baltimore is a very old city. It was founded and at least by the year, I believe in the 1700s or maybe before that. I'm not exactly sure. But it was certainly around during the War of 1812. So it existed way before that. It's a natural port. So given that it's a natural port, given the urbanization around that, you would assume it's very wealthy, but the wealth is leaving that city because of the policies of that city. Now it is being taken over by criminals. How did this happen? First problem is the philosophy. Higher education, or so-called higher education, these universities, taught a nihilistic, relativistic ethics philosophy. Essentially, the basis of a form of authoritarianism, the egalitarian form of authoritarianism, to these intellectuals, lawyers, your people that run the schools, the people that end up being elected, were taught this ideology of egalitarianism, that it's they need to be soft on people who are criminals. And as a result of that, we have gotten away from reason, that is, justice, that we're not prosecuting the criminals, we're not treating them exactly the way they ought to be treated to prevent such behavior. So now, because of the lack of that foundation of reason, now that that's gone, the city is falling apart. And again, this is happening to a lot of cities. It's not just Baltimore, it's happening to really the entire country, the entire Western civilization. The solution to this is you have to respect reason, okay? There are a lot of problems. There's a lot of origins of problems in this country, and one of them is our universities. The philosophy departments, the humanities departments that teach this relativistic stuff, this baloney, that needs to go away. We need to have a competition of ideas. We need to inject logic and reasoning to these spaces in the universities. I would even go as far as saying, if I was president, if I had a governmental say in what goes on, I would threaten to pull funding from these universities if they don't, at the bare minimum, allow for a free and open debate. That's the origin of that problem. The other issue is voter fraud, which is happening. There's essentially mafias that control these cities. They're running a political machine. And the other thing is we need to have fair elections, free and fair elections like they do in Taiwan, for example, where votes are counted out loud, they're written on paper, they're not counted by a machine, and they do it out publicly so we don't have a repeat of 2020, or for that matter, really every election that we have in this country. So change the philosophy, change the essence of the governmental situation so that you have a free and fair election and we have free debates. And don't create policies where you're attracting criminals to the area. You have to apply reason in order to have a functioning, really anything. So anyway, yes, Baltimore is becoming increasingly lawless. Baltimore is not the only city where this is happening, but it is what it is.